Hi, I'm Molly.
And I'm Emily.
And this is How Does She Do It, a Two Tired Moms podcast. And today we're going to talk about the timing of your career.
Yes, and we do want to preface that there's no right or wrong answer on whether you're a stay-at-home mom, a working mom. We're just trying to give some information on how we became stay-at-home moms. We went from stay-at-home moms to working moms. And you may listen to this and be like, you know what? That sounds awful. I think I'll stay being a stay-at-home mom. But at least that'll help you guys to give you some guidance.
Yeah, and if you choose or if you think that this sounds like something that you could do, then maybe you can take some of our advice and do your own.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm going to start by asking Molly about how, we'll just go back, right? Go back to before you had kids. What did that look like?
Me and my husband were married pretty young, and it was somewhat right out of high school. And I had just received my cosmetology license. And in order to keep up with that, I worked another job. I was trying to build a clientele. And my husband was trying to start up his own business. So we were newlyweds that barely saw each other and just worked all the time.
Yep.
And then we had a surprise. We found out we were pregnant and realized like our lives were going to change. And it was not planned. You know, we had no idea. You know, even when I was pregnant the entire time, I'm like, I got this. I'm going to work all the way through my pregnancy as hard as I can. And then even when she's born, I'm just, going to hop back into it.
Nothing's going to change. Our lives are going to stay the same.
Yeah, it was a huge slap in our face.
Reality check.
Yes. Yeah. And I figured it out even during pregnancy. Thank goodness, I had a job where I was booth renting for cosmetology, so I could come home and take a nap.
Yeah.
Because I've never been so tired.
So you were like a 1099 then?
Yes.
Right? Like independent contractor. Okay.
Yep, I was. So even then, I had decided, like, I don't really want to work for somebody. I want to try to do this on my own.
Molly's always been entrepreneurial.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I graduated cosmetology school. I was 19, 20, somewhere around there. And decided I was going to start up my own business, I guess you can say, under the roof of somebody else's salon. But yes, I did that. And I worked a part-time job, 2 different ones actually, kind of rotating. So I worked a lot during that time. When I found out I was pregnant, I kept working up until about a couple weeks before my pregnancy, and then decided, okay, got to take maternity leave now.
Yeah.
Figured out that needed to happen.
Yep.
And had some complications with delivery. So
you mean that waking up 5 times throughout the night was not productive for your daily work schedule?
It was not. Especially like being on my feet all day, like I'm already tired.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't, gonna work.
Yeah, I can only imagine like trying to pump or not even, you know what I mean? Just like feedings and everything.
Yeah. Ugh. Yes, it was definitely hard. And I had no idea how to time my clients with a feeding/pumping schedule or picking up my kid at a specific time because the daycare is closed or because they're sick or whatever. It just was so much. I cried every day for a year. I have not kidded. It was so hard. And Peyton was super colicky, so that made things more difficult with finding daycare and people who were willing to watch her. And I don't know if Stephanie's ever going, and Mike are going to hear this, but they saved us. They really did. They were, she was a friend of mine, and they just took Peyton in, and we are so, so grateful to them.
Yeah.
And I think I only took like a 4 to 6 week maternity leave. It was so short.
Goes by like that.
Yeah, it was so short. And back then, I didn't know like that was short. I just thought, well, we have no money. We have to go back to work. So, we worked really, really hard. My husband, like I said, was trying to open up his own business and working a side job to do that. So, it was a lot. It was a lot. It changed our lives forever.
And you became a stay-at-home mom though, there for a little while, right?
Yes. So I decided,
call it quits.
Yeah, she was probably 3 months old, and her colic was still like just a problem. And so my husband and I decided, okay, we're going to stay home. or you're going to stay home. Not me. That would never work.
No.
So he's like, you're going to stay home and we're going to see if we can make this work. And I did it for almost exactly 2 months. And let's be honest, we were so young and I did not have money to stay at home. No. Not a good decision at all. So I offered to watch some of my friends' kids while we do it. Also not a good decision. And like I said, it lasted 2 months and I could not.
Oh,
I couldn't do it.
Bless your soul. I couldn't do that either. Go ahead.
It was too much. It was too much. And I just missed being away from my child. I did. I didn't want to be with her 24/7 all the time. And that's okay. An adult interaction out there, it's okay.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
To want to be away.
Yeah.
So
normal.
Yeah, that's what I did. I stayed at home for a very, very short period of time. And then after that, I went back to doing hair, but I was actually working in a salon. As an employee, I was no longer 1099 anymore. And that lasted about a year. Peyton was probably a little over a year old. And I had a really good friend of mine. I was doing her nails and she was telling me about real estate, Julie. She was telling me about real estate and how she knew someone that I could work for and it would be a more flexible schedule and all of these things. And which is so true about real estate, right? Yeah. Like, obviously it takes up so much of your time, but it can be flexible too. So I thought, let's do this. Went in for interviews and ended up getting the job with an agent there at Keller Williams and stayed there for a really long time. It was from 2016 all the way until 21.
Yeah.
And I was
we met.
So yeah, I was with Keller Williams during that time doing a whole bunch of different things. I worked with different agents and I loved every minute of my time there. And
was this 1099 or W-2?
This was W-2. And then I ended up I decided to get my real estate license in 2021. Yeah, I think I took the classes in 2020.
Yes, we did class together.
Yeah, it's 2020. Like, height of COVID.
It's 2020. Yay. And then we were actually doing real estate 2021.
Yep.
Because we took our exams at the end of 2020.
Yes, I believe.
Yeah, and then our license came in.
Yeah, and so I did work as a W-2, but I loved every minute of being an admin and a transaction coordinator. I already expertise. Yes, it is my passion, and I think I always just had this thought in my head, like, but you could do so much more. And so got my license, and then when I was doing that, realized all that it entails to be a real estate agent. It is so much work. Like, those agents work so hard.
Yeah.
And especially if you can find one that's really, sticking up for you during a transaction, all those things, they work so hard.
It's around the clock.
It is. There is no break. And that is not even a little bit of a joke when we're saying that. There is no break at all. And that, for me, was too much. It was. I missed my family, and even though it was flexible, I still felt like I was missing out on so much with my family. And so I decided not to do that. And
I remember that struggle because we were in the same office together. Again, we went through schooling together. We ended up being on the same real estate team. And I remember you would have days where you would come in crying because you just felt awful to drop your kids off at daycare again and school. And you would just be like, I don't want to be here.
Yes, I would. I would just be in tears. And I'm sure people were sick of watching me upset about this, but it was such a struggle because I'd found something that I really loved.
Yeah.
And I wanted to build this career because I know my kids aren't going to be small forever, right? Yes. And you want something whenever you're done. But at the same time, are you willing to sacrifice the time that you have now when they're little? And it's such a hard decision. I feel for all the moms that are out there deciding, what are you going to sacrifice, your career or the time with your child?
Yes. And that is such the struggle. You're being pulled in so many different directions because exactly that, like, they're not going to be there forever. Sorry, that sounded weird.
Right. But, they're not.
They're not going to be attached to your hip and asking for snacks.
No.
For the next however long. So you want to prepare yourself for when that time comes. But also, not to mention, you spoke about money. Like if you want to take your kids on vacations, you want to give them the sports and the clothes and this, you do have to have a decent income.
Yeah.
Right. And if you can solely rely on one person to do that, that's great. But if you can't, you can't. You have to make it work however that looks.
Yeah.
And it's just this constant battle of like, well, what's worth my time away from my family and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it is. And there's no right answer for that either. And the mom guilt is
real
so much every single day. Even now, like I feel comfortable and I'm happy helping out with my husband's business, and I get to do it from home. I feel so blessed to be in the spot that I'm in right now, but there's still mom guilt there, and I am there for them every single day. And I think that's something that I thought I had to fix at that time. Being such a young mom, I thought, this isn't how every other mom feels.
Yeah.
This is something that I have to fix because I'm not being a good mom. And that's why I feel this way.
Cry. Don't cry. Oh my gosh.
I think, watching your kids grow and into real human beings with real emotions, and even watching them grow up into good people.
Yeah.
Helps you realize, that's I don't even know. It's just this thought that's in your mind that you're giving yourself, and it's not real. It's not true. You're doing the best that you can and what you have to do. And that's what makes you a good parent, not
it is
just spending every waking minute with your child, which was the lie that I was telling myself at that time.
Yeah. And I can genuinely, me and my mom talk about this all the time. My best memories were our poorest moments. And, and I didn't know it as a kid, though. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like garage sailing and thrift store shopping with my mom because we couldn't afford to go get brand new clothes for school. But to me, it was just so much fun to hop in the car, like go from garage sale to garage sale.
Yeah.
I know at one point in time, we were literally fishing for our food. But it's true. Yeah. Like my dad, we would go fishing like every day of the week, and whatever we brought home, we would eat. And I just thought it was so fun. Like, man, I caught this and I get to, feed the family tonight. And I had no idea that it was because we were struggling that week, right? It was like a couple of days before payday. We didn't have anything. And my mom is just like, she does the same thing, right? Like, I wish I could have been a better mom. I was like, oh my gosh, like you were the most amazing mother. And even those times that we were low, I still had no idea because you made it fun. And it was the time that you'd spent with me or didn't spend with me or that I spent with dad. Like that made it memorable and made you this amazing mom and somebody that I look up to. And so it goes to show like, it doesn't have to be perfect. But that's the thing though. I only have one point of view because my mom always stayed at home. She never worked. Now I will say once I got into high school and I was gone all of the time, it didn't bother me that my mom wasn't around,
Yeah.
I was doing my own thing. I was growing into an adult, and whether mom was there or not, I don't care. Like I would get home and matter of fact, you're not home. Sweet. I'm going to go make myself some snacks and some pizza rolls and call it good. Like, so it's that mom guilt that's always there. My mom is an amazing fucking mom. And the fact that she still has guilt.
I met her just a couple months ago, and I just want to take her everywhere with me.
As Ollie would say, I want to put her in my pocket.
Yes, I do. But I mean, same thing, because I grew up with I have a brother and 3 sisters, so 4 siblings. And that was a lot for our parents. I can't even imagine. I tell my mom daily, I don't know how you did this because I can't even wrangle the 2 that I have. And that seems like a job all in itself. And I know they weren't financially doing well the entire time that we were younger. But like you said, we had no idea. We never really wanted for anything. And if we did, we didn't know. They did a really good job of sheltering us from that and making sure that we felt loved and provided for no matter what.
Yeah.
And let's face it, we didn't need everything that we wanted anyway. So, yes, I agree. My parents were amazing parents. They still are. And I'm so grateful for the life they gave me, whether they had, tons of money or not. And my mom worked and didn't work. My dad always worked really long hours, and my mom worked at our school or wherever was convenient so that she could be with us, right? And I know now as a parent, she felt the same exact way.
Of course, it's impossible to not have mom guilt, whether you're stay at home, whether you're working, whether you're doing a little bit of both, or you're in and out of careers. I know that's what I did. Going back to before we had kids, I was the same as you. It was kind of like I was working jobs because we were poor and we both needed to work and we needed to sustain ourselves. Now, Julius was not a surprise. He was very much so planned. We tried for him for a year. And knowing that we probably weren't financially ready, but we wanted a baby really bad. And we also got married really young. I actually wasn't out of high school yet. Fun fact. I was like a month away from graduating. Okay. But yeah, we had Julius, and then I stayed at home the entire time. I stayed at home until we had Gracie. And Julius was about 3.5 when we had Gracie. And then we had a little bit of a struggle there for money. And so I did do some like babysitting on the side and nannying and stuff like that. And I just brought my kids along with me just for some extra cash at the end of the week. And then I got into serving because, again, it kind of worked with the hours. Jared's hours have never been the same. He has never had a constant schedule.
Yeah.
So whatever I had to do, even still today, like whatever my job is, it has to be flexible around his because he is the primary breadwinner. And so serving was able to help me do that, and bartending. And so I did that up until we got pregnant with JJ. And no, I actually worked with JJ too. I worked through Julius's pregnancy and JJ's pregnancy. I did not with Gracie, and I really couldn't. I was so sick with that girl. I lost so much weight.
Yeah, and if they don't tell you, when you're trying to plan your life, they just don't tell you about these things.
Yeah. Yep. Well, okay, maybe it did. It's all like wishy-washy.
It's hard, right?
I definitely remember having ginger ale and mints with me at the serving job, but that could have been with Jay. I don't know. But that just to go to show, like I was in and out of jobs because we were fine and then we weren't, and then, and then we were again, and then we weren't. And so it was just kind of hopping in and out of wherever I could help to get income into the house.
Yeah.
And once I had JJ, I was stay-at-home mom. And then we moved to South Dakota. So we were in Nevada when we had all of our kids in Las Vegas. And then we moved to South Dakota. And I was a stay-at-home mom there too until things weren't even tight. I was just tired of my kids. Point blank.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, I had 3 under the age of 4. Or under the age, no, it was under the age of 4. And no. 3 kids is a lot. I don't know how y'all do anymore. But nonetheless, JJ was less than a year old and Gracie was about 2, Julius was about 4. And they were with me non-stop. And it was a lot. And I didn't know anyone because we were new to South Dakota. And I was cooped up in the house. And like, it's going to get dark, you guys, because I got depressed. I was so depressed. I was crying all the time. Not because my kids were bad, not because they were, doing anything, not because we were financially strapped. I was just so sick and tired of being around my kids and not being around adults. And Jared was coming home and he's like, "Why are you crying?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I cannot tell you why." Because JJ just took his first steps today. That was a win. That's awesome. And Julius was, writing his name out for the first time. But here I am crying because I don't fucking know. I'm just sad.
Yeah.
And so then I started working nights at the ER as like admin. And that was nice. It was because me and Jared missed each other a lot. But at the same time, I got to go out and have interaction with other people. And I didn't have to pay for childcare because that's a whole nother subject. Oh my goodness. Like having to figure out childcare, cover that because it is expensive. But you want it to be expensive, right? Because you want people to take care of your children. It's all sorts.
Whole other mess.
It is. It's a whole nother beast. And so I did that for a while. And again, Jared, I still, like, I was happy, but I wasn't, because I don't want to be in the ER. Like, it's interesting. It was always something different, but it wasn't what I was passionate about. And so Jared came home one day and he's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to do real estate, but that just seems silly because you're always moving around. We're always moving. And to get my license and clientele everywhere we go, that just seems dumb. And he's like, I don't want to hear it. Like, if that's what you want to do, go and do it. And that's when I got into real estate school. And we were in real estate school together, but didn't even really know it because you were in person and I was online.
Yeah. I just knew that you were like this person that was going to be joining the team at the time, because I was still working as admin and doing the real estate school after work, trying to get that license. And then, yes, I was in person and I just saw you like pop up in every natural world.
Yep. And I remember they would call on you all the time because you were already in the real estate world and they expected you to know everything.
Yeah, like I already knew like the teacher really well, and I knew people who were going in to take the class. So yeah, I got asked a lot of questions.
Yeah. And I was on the opposite end of things than Molly, because she was over here like, I hate doing real estate. Like, it takes so much time and energy. And I'm just like thriving.
Yes, you were. Guilt, because I thought, well, Emily has one more child than I do. Like, and she's doing fantastic. And I'm over here in the corner crying, like, what is wrong with me, you know? And I don't actually hate real estate. I actually think I have a large passion for it. And if I just wasn't in that
side of things.
I didn't enjoy the agent side of things. I really thought, I think it was enticing because, you know, it just is like it's kind of competitive and it's fun to go out and get your clientele actually. And so, and I saw everybody else doing it. I'm like, I can do that, you know, and I can do that.
And just proven that you can.
Yes. It just wasn't my passion. And my passion fell on the opposite side of things, which is great too. I love doing that stuff.
And you're very good at it. I've hired her for my own stuff. She's currently working on my things right now because she's just so good at it. But I will say one of the big reasons I chose real estate too is because of that flexibility. And it was a little bit of like I thought I was going to have this flexibility, but don't at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. Because if your clients want to see a house at 7:00 at night, and that's the only time they can go see it, guess what? You're showing a house at 7:00 at night, you know, or doing an open house on Saturday and Sunday because that's when people are going to be able to come and see it. So it's not quite the flexibility that I thought I was getting, but it's enough flexibility to where I can bring my kids with me. I'm 1099, right?
Yeah.
So they did come with me a lot. I did end up putting the two littles in daycare, but it was an in-home daycare, and it was a mom and her mom. And her mom, so it was like grandma or mom, grandma, and great grandma. And my kids called them by their names and grandma this and grandma that. And I loved it. It warmed my heart to drop them off.
Yeah, that is
in a good way.
The hardest part. The biggest battle of working is finding somewhere that you're okay with dropping your kids off and not feeling terrible when you leave.
Yes.
Because if you're okay with dropping them off, you at least know they're having a good time and they want to be there. They want to be with you, right?
Yeah.
Because they're having fun there.
Not once did they cry.
But let me tell you, though, the thing that Emily is being modest about is that her husband had deployed and was gone for 9 months. So not only did she have one more child than me, but she also was husbandless at the time and taking her kids to school / daycare / piano. And
they were all in extracurriculars.
Yeah. You are the definition of just killing it as a mom. Like you did amazing. Okay. And I know you had a lot of tears, right?
I had a lot of tears.
I know it was not perfect, but you really did, push through it. And I think you just model this type of mom that people really want to be, and they should know that it does take a lot of really hard work. You could not have done that without the tears and without support.
Yeah.
And without working really, really hard every day for as long as you possibly could, and then some.
Yeah.
And
I appreciate that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But you're right. It was definitely, especially while Jared was gone, it was full support. Like, and again, I still didn't have that many friends at that point. I got maybe like 3 or 4 off the top of my head, but you know, so yes, I did, but I did have like a few that I could rely on no matter what. You being one of them, Miranda being one of them, Chelsea being one of them, like you guys helped me tremendously in those times where, and my clients, to be honest, like they were okay with me bringing my kids. And I have always said, and I will always say, if a client is not okay with me bringing my kids or involving them into the experience, then I'm probably not the right agent for you. And that's okay. I will gladly accept that. But not one of my clients were like, you're bringing your kid to the showing? No, absolutely not. They all welcomed it.
Yeah, I think nowadays people are so much more understanding than we give them credit for. The only person that is actually bothered by it is you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because
those kids, I don't care.
Yeah, you don't know, right? I'm like, yeah, bring your kids along. I don't care. You know, I have kids.
Yeah.
But even with clients that don't have kids, they get this change of pace, which is kind of fun sometimes.
Yeah.
And it just never, ever is a problem. Even when I'm on the phone with a client, I was on the phone with one today. And
you're always transparent, right? Like, oh, you might hear some kids in the background. They're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't even need to say anything.
No.
They just don't care.
So literally not at all. And that's what like real estate showed me, because I did all these odd end jobs and stuff. And that was something that you can't bring your kid to a bar. It's a little frowned upon. So didn't get to take them there. Didn't get to take them to the ER without a boo-boo. And so getting into real estate and thinking, one, it was scary actually, because you're starting your own business. You are a 1099. You're having to pay these dues monthly and yearly and quarterly. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we cannot afford for me to not succeed.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is going to be an epic fail for our family because I was putting everything on credit cards too at that time, because we were financially okay, but we weren't great. So it was a lot getting started and having to do daycare for the first couple months, but not have any income.
Yeah.
So we put a lot of it on credit cards, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I can't pay these credit cards off, like this is just going to be so embarrassing.
But that's what drove you, right? There was no option to fail at that point. You didn't allow yourself. And that's also why you're still so successful, because, I mean, you had that experience, you know? And I think you were saying Jared's schedule always had to be flexible. So you had to be flexible, and it really prepared you for this like time in your life. I never had to do that. So when people are like, yeah, let's see a house at 7, I'm like, oh, is it going to work for me?
Not. Yeah. No, I will. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like, you still get my phone calls and texts where I'm like, I feel like a shitty parent right now. Like, I have been working 15 hours. Like we talked about in the last episode, like it will turn into a 15-hour day if it is what it is. You have like these days where you're super busy and then days where you have nothing. And, you know, those days I take the kids to park and I do this and that. But those days where you are busy nonstop and you don't get the time to sit down and have conversations with your kids and stuff like that, it hurts.
It does.
It hurts so bad. And then you're like, why am I doing this again? Like, why did I choose this? But then I think back to when I was a stay-at-home mom, and I'm like, that shit was harder for me personally.
Yeah.
It was harder because mentally I was exhausted and drained, and the mom that they were getting was not the mom that they deserved in my eyes, because I was a sad mess after a while. And so then I think back to like, well, being a stay-at-home mom, I don't think is the right fit for our family either.
Yeah.
So
because either way, if you really look at it, either way, you being a stay-at-home mom, you might not be, I shouldn't say you aren't, you might not be, like you're saying, giving a mom that they deserve 100% of the time.
Yes.
Right? They're not going to get that person 100% of the time. That's a mad hub
pill to swallow.
It is.
That's why I was so sad too, because I'm like, I'm a mother. I should be good at this.
I should know what to do instinctually. I should be able to do this. Right?
I should want to be around my kids all the time. That was my thought process. I should want to be with them. And I don't And so what the hell is wrong with me as a mother, you know? And then when I started working, it just felt better. It felt better with the kids. That time with them was more precious and it was more memorable. And then we also, because of me working, we got to go on more vacations and do more things together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, that I was wanting to do with my kids. Now, in the same breath, it's like the little things are what count, right? But in my mind, I was like, I need to do these big, extravagant things with my kids so they can remember it. So it's just this tug and pull. But I can tell you, stay-at-home mom Emily and working mom Emily is much happier. Yes. And that's what my kids want.
Yeah, they do. They want you to be happy for sure. And they know they're not going to get 100% of your time. You know, that doesn't mean they're going to like it.
Yeah.
But
well, them being in school is a lot easier too.
It is.
And being in sports, like I said, when I got to the point where I was in sports and gone all the time, it didn't matter if mom was gone during the day. I'm at school. I'm doing my sports and stuff. So what she does during that time, I don't care.
Yeah.
And so that has definitely made things a lot easier this year in particular, because I don't feel bad about working all day long. And then if I have to work a little bit in the evening, it's fine, because I probably dropped them off at soccer practice and then went to go do something, or they get to come with me. So
yep, as they get older, it's definitely easier. Being from the age from they're born all the way up until 5?
Yeah.
And they go to school a little bit longer. That part is really where the mom guilt sets in the most, because it's so fresh and new.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're supposed to be with them all the time. But moms need breaks too.
Yeah.
That's just so true. It's no different than any other job where you get a break at lunch or a 15-minute break here and there. And it's okay to want a break from your kids.
It is so okay. And I'm going to go out and say this is probably going to be a whole nother episode, but going to the grocery store, is that a break or not? Without your kids,
right? I think it's personal preference. I don't think it's... I mean, it is from your kids, but it's not from your duties as a mother.
Yeah.
That's really, when we say it's okay to want a break, I'm talking about from all of it. Just be a mom in general. Meal planning and getting groceries counts. It does.
That is
and maybe you don't have that luxury right now, but I will tell you that you will one day as your kids get older.
Mm-hmm.
And it just takes a long time to get there.
Yeah. And you just got to embrace the suck for a bit.
You know, you do.
Yeah. You just have to embrace the time that you have with your kids. You have to embrace being away from them. You have to embrace the new adventures that you go on, whether that's a new career or staying at home and doing what you want during the day while they're at school. Like it can look different for everyone. And that's the beautiful thing. But I think at the end of all of this, it really matters if you are happy or not as an individual.
Yeah, that's the key.
Time.
Because you can't be a good parent if you're miserable and unhappy. Like your happiness matters.
It does. Yeah, it's like the oxygen mask that everyone talks about. Like you need to place it on yourself first before you place it on others. And whatever that looks like for you, it's important that you take on that endeavor.
Yep.
So if you want to be painting pet portraits on the side because that makes you happy, then do it, make it work. And that's kind of where me and you found our careers and our paths, is because we had no choice but to do it or fail.
Yeah, exactly. And we did different things to figure out what our passion is.
Yes.
Even though you have kids, you can still figure out what you are passionate about. That was hard for me. It was so hard to, some people just know what they want to do in life. And I feel like it took me a while to figure that out, but you can figure it out by trying new things. Mm-hmm. And if they don't work out, that's okay. You just move on.
Just to the next on. Exactly. So I don't know. I hope this helps somebody to making that decision on whether you want to stay at home, whether you want to start a career, if you just want to do something a little extra on the side for yourself, like that's okay. And it's okay to explore and try something and quit. It is. So, okay. Well, we'll wrap that puppy up. That was heavy.
Yeah.
But hope you guys enjoyed it. We see you on the next episode.
Bye.